Y'all, hey, this is my camp. Like I told y'all, this is my camp. Now look what we got today, a van. So I didn't fall for none of the stimulus today at all. And because of that, they're making a van drive literally so close to my shit. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? You Casa? Oh, okay. Yeah, but this, he just literally drove in, did a circle. That's my campsite. It drove right past my campsite and right back out. So I'm not falling for their mental mind games. And also, I was like, I told myself by myself, but they can hear everything you say by yourself. I was like, I'm going to have to accept jail time. Because if I'm becoming intelligent, if you look at history in our United States of America, anytime somebody's more intelligent than someone who has money, than someone who has money, they always end up in jail. And it never fucking fails. So I was like, I'm gonna accept that I have to go through jail time. So since I'm not scared of that threat, they're trying to go through another way. So let's make cars pass that van, because what are vans looked at as? Vans are looked at as kidnapping, death, things like that. So what they do is they do that to reinforce that. They want me to be in fear. They don't want me to chill and feel relaxed. They want me to constantly, I'm finna go in this motherfucking tent and chill the fuck out, and I'm not finna give a fuck about anything. I'm just telling you what they want. That's to reinforce fear. That's to reinforce fear. If you just look at what fear does, when you feel like there's a threat that's going to come after you or something like that, it causes you to cognitively shut down. It causes you to become mentally unstable. That's what causes mental disorders, fear. Because that person is paranoid, they're anxious, they're depressed, they're scared of social settings, they're scared of somebody threatening them, scared of death, scared of sickness, they're scared. So that actually made me feel very good. What they just did made me feel very good, because if you had to try your best to scare me that bad, I must have showed intelligence that was so high that you felt like you had to really go out of your way to threaten me. Like, really go out of your way to threaten me, for real. But yeah, yes, the last time I posted y'all, they made sure a car parked right there. Ooh, y'all, we got a red Jeep with look, they sitting right there. They trying to figure out what to do next. Look, they're trying to figure out what to do next. They sitting there awkward. They're trying to figure out. They waiting for orders. They waiting for orders. Look, they looking at me. But yeah, if you can tell, oh sorry y'all, hold up. If you can tell, they use fear mongering. Like I said, every time they show me a red car or a green, because they're starting a new a sexual pattern with me. They're adding the color green. And what they do with this stimulus is, if you provoke someone with one thing over and over again, it'll start to psychologically make you think you care about that thing. And if you stop caring about it, even when you noticed it, and they are like, oh, well, if you stop noticing it, I'm going to kill you or something, if they like threaten your life or something, then that's going to reinforce you to care about that stimulus. So what they're doing is, every time I figure it out, they'll try to make me feel like my life is in danger. They'll try to make me feel like my freedom is restricted. Anytime I figure out their tactics, either my life is threatened or my freedom. They always come for those two, because those that kick starts the brain into the fight or fight state that feeds into the conditioned stimulus that they want to dilute your brain. So basically, I'm being punished for not being delusional. Basically, I'm being punished for not being delusional. That's insecure as fuck. But yeah, the fact that in literally 2 days there was a car parked right here, and then there's a van driving around. Another thing is, they want me to have anxiety before I get to it doesn't matter if I'm coming to my tent, my job, or a random store. They want me to have anxiety and anticipate everywhere I go. It's because they want me to have social anxiety. They want me to have fear. They want you to have this, this anxiety inside of you. So every time you go out into social places, you overreact, and you're more likely to just pop off. And then they reinforce that by making people around you constantly provoke you. And so people were constantly provoking me. I'm telling y'all guys, I had like 10 people at all times around me doing hand movements when I would move, blinking. You know, I had the color red and green everywhere. Jesus, girl, they were submerging me in that shit. And I was just calling it out as I seen it. I wasn't being provoked or anything. I was just calling it out as I seen it. I was like, okay, that's conditioned stimulus. All right, that's neutral stimulus with conditioned stimulus. All right, that's a perceptual organization, meaning my perceptual set looks at things that are in front of it or right behind it or diagonally as a threat. And then you use the conditioned stimulus and put it in that perceptual organization to trigger my neurological understanding of the things around me. And I'll understand that. And they don't like that. I'm emotionally regulating myself as I'm perceiving the things. And then my brain is taking that information in and seeing them for what they are. They don't like that. That pisses them off. So now I'm having to face a lot of subliminal messages. For example, I counted. Look. Right when I was about to say jail. He comes up with his fogger lights on. Why? Because headlights trigger the startle reflex. The startle reflex is the fight or flight response. And if I'm talking about death or jail, and then he provokes me with headlights that psychologically and biologically triggers your startle reflex, then I'm talking about jail. You provoke me with something that's going to make me feel startled. Combine that emotion with what I'm saying that provokes you with the meaning and the emotion at the same time. So they have ways to make you experience something without having to make you experience it. So like I said, talking about jail, talking about death, things like that, I have a lot of subliminal messages about jail, about death, about things like that, just constantly. I've counted on my hands like 35 times. I've heard the word jail 35 times in one day by different people around me. And the people who had said it the most were people with red shirts, green shirts, or blue shirts. So they want you to associate that behavior with that action over and over again. And remember, provoking is the opposite of practicing. Practicing is when you make the effort to do something over and over again until your brain looks at that as a pattern. Provoking is forcing one to do something over and over again in a negative way that traumatizes them so much that they start to look at that as a pattern. So provocation is just the negative opposite way look, lights. Anytime flashing lights, it's because, look, flashlight, they got any motherfucking thing to come over there and subliminal messages. Remember, they got to do the subliminal messages. Provocation, like I said, if you provoke someone instead of making them practice, you can still teach them. Provoking someone is teaching them neurologically instead of teaching them consciously. When you're practicing something, you're more likely to learn it consciously. When you're provoking someone, they're more likely to learn it consciously. Because I'm being provoked, so these are emotions I cannot stop from hurting. These are emotions that I can't stop from pissing me off, from making me scared. I can't stop these emotions because they're that strong. So if someone's provoking that emotion over and over again, and you can't stop that emotion from coming, what is going to happen to your brain eventually? What's going to happen to your brain eventually? If you're being punished every time you do something healthy over and over again in a provoking way, what's eventually going to happen to that individual? What can that individual then now start to be called out to be and looked at as? Y'all, we being tricked. Y'all hear the sirens? I don't know if y'all can hear them. The wind blowing. The wind just started blowing when the sirens, so I can hear the wind. But since I'm holding this phone, if the wind blowing and these trees blowing, the phone ain't gonna be able to hear the sirens. But I am, since I'm standing right here. Tricky shit. But sirens. After I finish that whole conversation, I hear sirens. So if you put on sirens while I'm making a video and after I'm done saying what I'm saying, what am I gonna associate that with? They back. What am I going to associate that with? Right when I said associate, the conditioned stimulus comes because why? Conditioned stimulus is when you falsely associate something. So they provoke me while I'm saying the words that make their stimulus because the provocation makes the stimulus. You see? And they don't have to be factual. All they have to do is know the right things to provoke to make the association. So they don't have to even be intelligent. Any dumbass could do this. Like dead ass. I love y'all. I'm finna go back to my